The problem is when you go down these stupid nerd rabbit holes in these Reddit threads with these morons who live in their mother's basement with a calculator, and then you put that out into the dadgum community, and then people go, I don't have enough money. It's hopeless. I'll never be able to save enough to retire. $1 million should create for you an $80,000 income, boys and girls.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Whiteboard Finance. Boy, oh boy, do we have a juicy one today. So basically, a 30-year-old person calls in saying that he feels like he's close to financial independence. He's using the 4 to 5% rule based on an article that he found on Dave Ramsey's own website. A month ago, he says that he saw George Kamel release the video saying that the withdrawal rate should be closer to 3% for a 30-year runway. So I'm going to show you this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's 9 minutes, but I do want to have some couple takeaways here. But let me give you this little snippet real quick.
Okay, I'm a little confused because I don't know what the hell George is doing a 3% withdrawal rate, because that's absolutely wrong. I'm going to have to find out where that video is and get it taken down, because that's just wrong. You don't need to have a 3% withdrawal rate. That's ridiculous. Or I hope you misunderstood. I hope we didn't put out trash like that.
Was it 4 to 5%?
No, it shouldn't be 4 to 5%. It ought to be more than that.
Okay, so real quick, so he has 3 dangerous assumptions in this video, so I don't want to play the whole thing too long at a time. So Dave has 3 assumptions where he basically he's putting you into a super high-risk asset allocation, 100% stocks, which he's been touting for decades now. Number 2, he's saying that you're going to outperform the S&P 500 historically, and I have the numbers to show you why that is. And then number 3 is basically assuming a linear 12% return, right? Well, we know those things are wrong. It's something that's called sequence of returns risk, which I'll get to here in a second, but I want to show you the rest of this video.
I mean, if you're making 12 in good mutual funds and the S&P is averaged 11.8, and if inflation for the last 80 years has averaged 4%, if you make 12 and you need to leave 4% in there for inflation raises, that leaves you 8.
Okay, so he's basically saying, 12 minus 4 is 8, okay? So 12% returns, 4% historic inflation, 8%, withdrawal rate. So let's talk about sequence of returns risk, and this is where Dave is kind of getting this wrong. So what he's not accounting for, again, going with the assuming the linear 12% return, he's not accounting for sequence of returns risk. So what is that? So let's take these 2 people, for example, and this is off Charles Schwab's website. So we have 2 investors. Both are basically starting at $1 million, which you can see right here. They take out an initial withdrawal of $50,000, and they increase their withdrawals 2% annually to account for inflation. That's typically how the 4% rule typically works, right? You take out what you can, and you adjust for inflation 2% per year. So investor 1's portfolio assumes a negative 15% return for the first 2 years and a 6% return for years 3 to 18, which you can see down here. Investor number 2's portfolio assumes a 6% return for the first 9 years, and then also a negative 15% return for years 10 and 11, and a 6% return for years 12 to 18. So you're thinking to yourself, hey, Marko, those are both the same thing, right? They both had 2 years of 15% declines. They both had 6% returns the whole time. They should be at the same number, right? According to Dave, they can just keep taking out. Basically, he said you could take out 80 grand per year forever. And maybe I'll get to that quote here in the video. But you can see with the sequence of returns risk, they both started at $1 million. This person, investor 1, who had the 2 years of 15% declines, they run out of money at year 17.5 or 18. If you look at investor 2, they still have $400,000 at the same exact time. Even though they both went through 2 of the same exact markets, they both had 2 years of 15% declines, the rest were 6% returns. But you can see how sequence of returns risk can really affect it depending on when you actually go into retirement. So the second thing I wanted to challenge Dave on is this is Portfolio Visualizer. You can see here that I'm using the U.S. stock market as an example. This goes back from December 31st, 1971, all the way to October 31st, 2023. So the second thing I wanted to challenge Dave on was basically the compound annual growth rate of U.S. stocks have been 10.25%. If you adjust for inflation, it's 6.04%. If you go to Investopedia, they have the S&P 500 averaging 10.15%. And if you go to this gentleman, Cody Garrett's chart right here, you can see based on your holding period, anywhere from 1 to 40 years, you can see the range of annualized returns. So year one, if you hold the S&P 500 for 1 year, you can get anywhere from negative 43.3% returns all the way up to 54. If you hold it for 25 years, which is typically the 4% withdrawal rate, it's supposed to get you 25 years into retirement. Your annualized range is going to be anywhere from 5.9 to 17.2, which is still not necessarily 12%, as Dave is insinuating. So I want to go through an actual. I'll just show you a quick preview here. I want to go through an actual demonstration of how Dave is wrong about 54% of the time. But before that, let's check out today's video sponsor, Policy Genius. So my wife and I are celebrating our third holiday season as parents, and as many of you know, having children changes your perspective on a lot of things. The holidays allow us to spend time with family and remind us of how important our responsibility is to protect them. I wanted to make sure that my girls are taken care of financially if anything were to happen to me or my wife. We just recently had our second child, and we have such peace of mind knowing that they're taken care of with our term life insurance policy. We both travel a lot overseas, and if anything were to happen to us, we know that our girls won't go through life at a financial disadvantage because of the simple steps we took to get our term life insurance from Policy Genius. Getting started with Policy Genius is simple. We filled out our information on the website, talked to their licensed agent, answered all of her questions, and she got back to us with quotes that made a lot of sense financially and also covered our needs. Policy Genius knows how valuable your time is. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Their licensed, award-winning agents can help you find the best fit for your needs. They work for you, not the insurance companies. That means they don't have an incentive to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. Policy Genius is for parents, caregivers, and anyone else who has people who depend on them. They simplify the process of getting life insurance so you can protect the people you love. No wonder they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Your family deserves a peace of mind. A life insurance policy through Policy Genius can give it to them. Head to policygenius.com/whiteboardfinance or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Okay, so I do want to show you this here really quick. This is ficalc.app.app. It's a very good financial independence calculator. But I do want to show a little quick more snippet of this video because it doesn't really hammer home. Well, actually, I need to show you the criteria that he's working with. He's working with $1 million and $80,000 per year, which will set me up to actually show you this calculator here.
So I'm perfectly comfortable drawing 8. But if you want to be a little bit conservative, 7, but sure not 5 or 3.
Well, I was trying to back check it because, 3 to 5, I thought that was a big range. And a lot of the studies I found showed.
Well, there's a lot of studies that are stupid in this space. But there's all these goobers out there who have always put this 4% crap in the market, and I'm just irate right now that we have joined the stupidity.
Why is it that stupid, though?
It's too low. Stupid people put out low withdrawal rates. Like you,
but
listen,
wouldn't you rather?
If you think you can only pull off 4% off of investments making 12, where the flip is the other 8% going? The problem is when you go down these stupid nerd rabbit holes in these Reddit threads with these morons who live in their mother's basement with a calculator, and then you put that out into the dadgum community, and then people go, I don't have enough money. It's hopeless. I'll never be able to save enough to retire. $1 million should create for you an $80,000 income, boys and girls.
Okay, so you heard that there. So $1 million income should create $80,000 a year for you, boys and girls, forever. So let's see if that's true. So this is, again, ficalc.app. I chose to do 25 years instead of 30 just because that's been the traditional 4% rule. So I did $1 million right here, 100% stocks. We didn't do any cash. We didn't do any bonds. It rebalances every year. And then we're doing the constant dollar method, which should adjust for inflation. And instead of 40 grand, I changed this to 80. So right here, you can see, I'm going to zoom in. You can see the success rate of this based on 128 simulations. They were only able to sustain 25 years for 46.9% of the time. If I did change that to 30, based on some other assumptions, that actually drops to 39.8, and it only works 49 out of 123 times. So if I do go back to, let's just change this to 25 just to give Dave the benefit of the doubt. And this is not accounting for taxes, fees, any of that stuff. Let's just assume this is like a Roth IRA, for example. You can see here that the number of portfolios, the number of $0 portfolios is 68. The largest one is 4.4 million bucks. The smallest one is obviously 0. The average portfolio is 667,000. Okay. Now, if I go down, you can see here all these simulations that they used. So wherever you have a red X, you did not survive that period. Wherever you have a green check, you did survive that period. So you can see here that from 98 to 2022, you would have 0. And you can see the ending balance right here with the dollar amount. So from 1994 to 2018, you would have 436 grand. 95 to 2019, you'd have just over $1 million, so on and so forth. If you look at these periods right before the 07, 08, you have 3.2 million. So again, this just goes back to showing you the sequence of returns risk. You cannot assume a flat 12%. That just doesn't make sense. So the other thing with Dave is he's always said, like, a lot of years I do better than 12. A lot of years I average 12, whatever. So I think what would help, and I mean, I've watched him for a long time. I've never seen him actually disclose what those mutual funds are. I know he says like 25% large cap, 25% mid cap, 25% small cap, 25% international, but it would just give him way more credibility, just like most YouTubers do. I've shown my portfolio. Other people show their portfolios all the time. Like, shut up and show me your portfolio. It's the easiest way to show you, what you have conviction in, right? So why doesn't he just disclose what he's investing in? Maybe he has. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I've never seen it. So I think that would just give his statements a lot more credibility. And then the last thing I wanted to finish this video on is that you shouldn't be trying to achieve 12% returns in retirement anyway, okay? You should be way heavier in risk-averse assets. I'm not going to talk about what those are in this video, but it should not be 100% stocks. It's almost common sense. So again, I think Dave is great for telling people or teaching people how to get out of debt, but he is not great with his investment advice. Maybe he is. Maybe he's just being disingenuous when it comes to what his actual returns are or what he's actually investing in. I don't know. Maybe he has disclosed that. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, you can't just assume a 12% linear return. So hopefully you got value out of this video. Please check out the link down below. You'll see WhiteBoard Finance University down there. We have a growing community of over 125 members now. It's an unbelievable asset, and I made it ridiculously affordable. So if you want to learn how to manage your money, increase your income, invest in real estate and stocks, 2 generational assets that have shown to prove that they can sustain and build generational wealth, depending on your sequence of returns risk, check out WhiteBoard Finance University down in the description below. Thank you so much, and have a prosperous day. This dude is like publicly shaming his co-hosts on his channel, like literally his co-host. Imagine what this dude does behind the scenes. He probably pulls out this belt and says, "George, come here, get your butt over here. 3% withdrawal weight, you're getting a whooping. This is my show."